technically, this isn't a horror, and I'm aware of that. 1973. And I'm sure when they did this, I know there was all sorts of criticism from people who are claiming that they were screaming about a non-existent problem, that the world would never be like this. Climate change is just a myth. It's just the weather. In Silent Running, which was a movie first and there is a novelization of it, there are pods, huge pods, out floating in space. And each pod has a different type of habitat, biodiverse habitat. So there's one that's a desert, there's one that's the rainforest. And the whole point of the film is that what these forests, different chunks of habitat in space in these pods are all that is left of nature from Earth. And there has been this project in the hope that eventually these things would be brought back so that they could help Earth become back what it used to be, back when it was young and beautiful and humans hadn't fucked it all up. Kind of like how the fact that they have this thing called the Ark, which is for seeds. It's got like millions and millions of seeds over in the Arctic. But they didn't, I mean, they did all this because of climate change was coming, but they didn't think about the fact that climate change would affect the place that they were in, and they nearly lost all those seeds because of the warming of the permafrost, which they didn't anticipate. So they nearly got their whole seeds section flooded out. But what comes down to is the government, as governments do, decided that profit was more important than life. And the people who are up in space tending to these habitats are told that you got to blow them all up. Now, Bruce Dern, who really is known for two expressions, this one, the "oh my God, what are you doing" face, and this one, the "life is so depressing" face. And this is coming from someone who actually had a bit of a crush on him when I was 13, so I'm being gentle about this. This is one of his better performances. Not that he ever phones it in, that's not one of his problems, but much like with most actors, there's the problem of being pigeonholed as to what you can do, and unfortunately Bruce Dern, that face, that first one I showed you was a big one that caused it, got pigeonholed as to a certain type of part he would play. Most recently, you may remember him as the old man in The Hateful Eight. Yes, he's been doing it that long. And he has his daughter, Laura, who was in Jurassic Park. Oh, that's irrelevant, I know, but his character has been eating food that's grown from the ground. He appreciates the nature. And he cannot believe, like they're expecting, the guys that are up there, they're all waiting for an announcement, and he's expecting it to be something that says they're going to get more money, or possibly they even get to come home. And it turns out he's part right. They do get to come home, but the forests and the other habitats don't get to come with them, and he can't cope with that. So what he does is he kills the other guys that are with him on this ship, and ends up turning to 3 robots, Huey, Louie, and Dewey, he calls them, teaches them how to play poker too, for any kind of companionship. Now, at one point he has to go behind a moon, and he has been all by himself, getting depressed, getting angry, and starting to eat the crap that comes out of the replicator. So he freaks out on himself and decides to go to one of the habitats to get some real food, as he puts it, only to discover that the plants are dying, and he doesn't understand why. Eventually he figures it out. In the end, he only manages to save one dome that has some pine trees, some cedar, shit like that, rabbits, fox running around in it. And that's the only thing he could save. Everything else got destroyed. And then he kills himself and takes the rest of the ship with him, so that the people who were looking for him, wondering why he hadn't joined all the rest of the crew and stuff like that, you know, people who were going to go home, there's a whole fleet of these things. It's not just the one ship that's got all these pods. And he doesn't want to go back to the Earth the way it is. Now, I'm sure that Joni Mitchell, if she had known what was going to happen, she wouldn't have giggled when she said they paved over paradise and put it in a parking lot. if she had done that song now, she would have probably cried. Because the simple fact is that's what we're doing. And I keep telling you people, it could be stopped. This is well worth watching, by the way. You can see it on YouTube for rent. I obviously have the DVD because I have loved this film since I was in my teens. And to me, in a lot of ways, how he feels is something I really, really relate to. We don't have to kill the planet and everything on it. We really don't. But humans are just so fucking selfish. Bear in mind, we didn't even have enough fucking sense to send some of the habitats up into space where they could be safe. No, we're just killing them all here on the planet. Because we're so smart.